English learners. Welcome back to English Pod. My name is Marco.
And I'm Erica.
And we're bringing you another great elementary lesson today, one that takes place at the office.
Yes, today we're going to teach you some great phrases so that you can ask people to help you.
Right, and I think this dialogue is with a new person at the office. So when you're new, you always need to ask people for favors.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to be asking for a favor.
So Marco, what exactly is a favor?
Something that a person does for you.
Like a small helpful thing.
Yeah, a small helpful thing. So, like, can you pass me that pencil? Maybe that's even a favor.
Yeah, or maybe, can you pick me up on your way to work?
Yeah, that's a favor. Or even lending money to your friend.
Yeah.
That's a favor.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to be talking about, favors and how to ask for one.
Because you always have to do this at work.
At work, with your friends, with your family. So let's listen to the dialogue and then we'll come back and explain all the vocabulary.
Sorry to bother you. My name is Rachel. I'm new here. Can I ask you for a favor?
Hi, Rachel. Welcome on board. I'm afraid I can't help you right now. I'm getting ready for a very important meeting.
Excuse me, but can I bother you for a second?
You know what? I'd love to help you, but I'm about to meet an important client. Do you want to ask Sean instead? He sits right over there.
Sorry to interrupt you, Sean. Could you do me a quick favor?
Actually, I'm working on a document that's due in a couple of minutes. I really can't talk right now. Sorry about that.
Jeez! I just want to know where the bathroom is. What's wrong with you people?
So a pretty busy office.
Pretty unhelpful colleagues.
I know, everyone's so busy they didn't help this poor girl.
Yeah, I hope she found the bathroom.
Now let's take a look at the language from the dialogue. So let's start with language takeaway.
Language takeaway.
There's some great language in this dialogue, wasn't there?
Yeah, a lot of interesting phrases and words. The first one that I saw that was really interesting is on board.
On board.
Welcome on board.
Well, we've got some examples of how this phrase is used, so let's listen to them to help us understand the meaning.
Example 1. Welcome on board, Sarah. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. Example 2.
We need to get our new office assistant on board as soon as possible.
Example 3. We decided to bring Melissa on board to join the marketing team.
So basically it means
Welcome to the company.
welcome to the company.
Or,
the team.
yeah.
Welcome on board.
So on board is the same as to the company.
I guess also when you get on a ship, they'll tell you welcome on board.
Yes, that's where it comes from.
Or an airplane.
Yeah.
Welcome on board. Okay, let's take a look at our next word. About to.
About to.
I'm about to.
I'm about to.
So this is a great phrase to explain that you're about to do something.
I'm going to do this thing really soon.
Okay, so for example, you can say, I'm about to go out for lunch.
Or I could say, hey, Marco, let's go record a show.
I'm about to go into a meeting.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
About to.
Going to do something really soon.
Okay. The next word we have is instead.
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 Instead. It means in the place of.
In the place of.
Yep.
So, for example, if we're at dinner, I could say, I'll have the chicken instead of the fish. Right?
Or I can say, I wanted to buy a red sweater, but they didn't have one, so I bought a blue one instead.
Instead. Okay. So, in the place of.
Yep.
And our last word for language takeaway, interrupt.
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 So when somebody interrupts you, they come in and
They talk to you while you're doing something, or maybe while you're speaking.
Or maybe you're busy and people come and
Bother you.
And bother you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So interrupt.
Interrupt. Okay, some great words here in our dialogue, and now we can listen to it again. This time it's going to be a little bit slower.
And you'll be able to understand the language a little bit better.
Sorry to bother you. My name is Rachel. I'm new here. Can I ask you for a favor?
Hi, Rachel. Welcome on board. I'm afraid I can't help you right now. I'm getting ready for a very important meeting.
Excuse me, but can I bother you for a second?
You know what? I'd love to help you, but I'm about to meet an important client. Do you want to try Sean instead? He sits right over there.
Sorry to interrupt you, Sean. Could you do me a quick favor?
Actually, I'm working on a document that is due in a couple of minutes. I really can't talk to you right now. Sorry about that.
Jeez. I just want to know where the bathroom is. What's wrong with you people?
Okay, so there are some great ways that you can ask someone for a favor, right?
Yeah, we want to show you some really useful phrases for asking for help.
So let's start with putting it together.
Putting it together.
Let's listen to some different ways of how you can ask someone for a favor.
Example 1. May I get you to do me a favor? Can you carry this package in your suitcase for me? Example 2.
Can I ask you a favor? Can you just finish this report for me?
Example 3. Will you do me a favor and pass me that file?
Okay, so those were great examples of asking for a favor.
Yep.
In our dialogue, we heard, "Can I ask you a favor?"
But we could also say, can I get you to do me a favor?
Right. Can I get you to do me a favor? Also, I could say, "Will you do me a favor?"
Will you do me a favor?
Right. So those are different ways of asking for a favor.
Let's say you want to ask someone for a favor, right? Mm-hmm. But they're busy.
Right?
So you'll need some phrases to help you do this.
Exactly. You need some phrases to interrupt somebody. Right? So let's listen to some examples of what phrases you can use to begin to talk to someone.
Yeah, to interrupt them.
Okay.
I hate to bother you, but...
I'm sorry to bother you, but...
I don't mean to bother you, but...
Okay, so those are really nice and polite ways of beginning to talk to someone.
Exactly. They're really useful at the office.
So maybe you want to talk to your boss, you knock on his door, kind of open it a little bit and say, "I'm sorry to bother you, but I was wondering if you have time for a meeting today?"
Or you could say, "I hate to bother you, but do you have time for a meeting today?"
Exactly. So those are great ways of starting up a conversation.
Yep.
And maybe setting it up to ask for a favor, right? So we can combine them. I could say, "I hate to bother you, but can you do me a favor?"
Perfect.
Right?
Yeah, really useful.
So then you can ask someone for a favor.
Yep.
Okay, great stuff. So I guess we can listen to our dialogue again.
Yeah, let's listen to our dialogue for the third time, and this time I'm sure you'll understand it a lot better.
Sorry to bother you. My name is Rachel. I'm new here. Can I ask you for a favor?
Hi, Rachel. Welcome on board. I'm afraid I can't help you right now. I'm getting ready for a very important meeting.
Excuse me, but can I bother you for a second?
You know what? I'd love to help you, but I'm about to meet an important client. Do you want to ask Sean instead? He sits right over there.
Sorry to interrupt you, Sean. Could you do me a quick favor?
Actually, I'm working on a document that's due in a couple of minutes. I really can't talk right now. Sorry about that.
Jeez. I just want to know where the bathroom is. What's wrong with you people?
All right, so now you have all the vocabulary necessary the next time you need to ask someone for a favor.
Yes.
At the office, with your friends, with your family, anyone.
Asking people for help. Asking for help is a natural part of life. No one can do everything alone, and sometimes we need support from others. Whether it is asking a friend for advice, seeking directions from a stranger, or requesting assistance at work, knowing how to ask for help is an important skill. However, for many people, asking for help can feel uncomfortable. Some worry that they might disturb others, while others fear that they will seem weak or incapable. But in reality, asking for help is a sign of strength. It shows that a person understands their limits and values the knowledge and abilities of others. In daily life, people ask for help in different situations. Sometimes, it is a small request, such as borrowing a pen or getting help carrying a heavy bag. Other times, the request may be more important, like asking a teacher to explain a difficult lesson or seeking emotional support from a friend. In all cases, the way we ask for help matters. Being polite and respectful makes the other person more willing to assist. Simple words like, "Could you help me, please?" Or "Excuse me, I need some help" can make a big difference in how the request is received. When asking for help, it is also important to be clear. If a person does not explain what they need, the other person may not understand how to assist them. For example, if someone is lost in a city and asks, "Where is the train station?" It is a clear and direct request. But if they simply say, "I don't know where to go," the person they are asking might not understand what kind of help is needed. Giving enough information helps the other person provide the right assistance. Some people hesitate to ask for help because they do not want to bother others. They might think, "I don't want to be a burden," or "I should solve this on my own." But in most cases, people are happy to help if they're asked in a kind and respectful way. In fact, many people feel good when they can assist someone else. Helping others creates positive connections and builds trust between people. When someone receives help, they may also feel encouraged to help others in return. There are many cultural differences in how people ask for help. In some cultures, it is very common to ask strangers for assistance, while in others, people might hesitate to do so. Some cultures independence, while others encourage cooperation and community support. Learning how people in different cultures ask for help can be useful, especially for those who travel or interact with people from different backgrounds. Understanding these differences can help avoid misunderstandings and make interactions smoother. Asking for help is a valuable skill that benefits both the person making the request and the one offering assistance. It creates opportunities for learning, teamwork, and stronger relationships. Whether it is a small favor or a big request, knowing how to ask for help politely and clearly can make life easier and more enjoyable for everyone. Asking for help is not just about words. It is also about confidence, tone, and body language. When someone approaches another person for assistance, their attitude can influence the response they receive. If they seem nervous or uncertain, the other person might not understand the urgency of the request. However, if they ask in a calm and respectful manner, they are more likely to receive a positive response. Eye contact, a friendly expression, and a polite tone of voice can make a request more effective. Even small gestures, such as a nod or a smile, can help create a connection between the person asking and the one helping. Different situations require different ways of asking for help. For example, in a formal situation, such as at work or in school, it is usually best to use polite and professional language. Instead of saying, "Hey, I need help," a better approach would be, "Could you please assist me with this?" Or, "I'm having some trouble with this task. Could you explain it to me?" In an informal situation, such as among friends, the language can be more relaxed. A simple, "Can you help me?" or "I need a hand with this" is usually enough. Knowing when to be formal and when to be casual helps in making effective requests. Sometimes people are afraid to ask for help because they think they will be rejected. They might worry that the other person is too busy or unwilling to assist. While rejection is always a possibility, it does not mean that asking for help was a mistake. People have different reasons for saying no. Maybe they are occupied with something urgent, or they do not have the knowledge or ability to help. In such cases, it is important not to take rejection personally. Instead of feeling discouraged, a person can simply try asking someone else. Most people are willing to help if they have the time and ability. It is also important to be patient when asking for help. Sometimes the person being asked needs a moment to understand the request. For example, if someone is asking for directions in a foreign country, the person they approach might take a few seconds to think before answering. In such cases, waiting politely and giving them time to respond can make the conversation smoother. Interrupting or showing frustration might make the other person feel uncomfortable, which could reduce their willingness to help. Another key aspect of asking for help is showing gratitude. When someone offers assistance, it is important to say thank you or express appreciation in some way. Gratitude makes people feel valued and encourages them to continue helping others in the future. Even if the help received is small, acknowledging it with a kind word or a smile creates a positive experience for both the helper and the person receiving assistance. If the help is significant, a follow-up message or a small gesture of appreciation, such as returning a favor, can strengthen relationships. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness, but a natural part of human interaction. Everyone, at some point, needs support, whether in small daily tasks or in major life challenges. Knowing how to ask for help effectively, with politeness and confidence, makes life easier and builds strong connections between people. It is a skill that benefits both the person asking and the one offering assistance, creating a culture of cooperation and kindness. There are many situations in life where asking for help becomes necessary. Sometimes, people need help with physical tasks, such as carrying heavy objects, fixing a broken appliance, or finding a lost item. In other cases, they might need emotional support, like when they are feeling sad, stressed, or confused about an important decision. Help is also needed in learning and problem solving, such as when someone struggles to understand a subject at school or needs guidance in a new job. No matter the situation, knowing how to ask for help properly can make a big difference in receiving the assistance needed. One of the most common places where people ask for help is at work. In a professional environment, employees often need support from their colleagues or managers. A new employee may need help understanding company policies, while an experienced worker might need assistance in handling a difficult project. Instead of struggling alone, it is always better to reach out and ask questions. Good workplaces encourage teamwork and communication, so asking for help is not seen as a weakness, but as a way to learn and grow. However, it is important to ask in a way that respects other people's time. Saying something like, "I have tried to solve this, but I'm still having trouble. Could you guide me?" shows that the person has made an effort before seeking help. In schools and universities, students often ask teachers, classmates, or tutors for help. Learning can be challenging, and sometimes a subject may seem too difficult to understand alone. When a student struggles with math, science, or language, they should not be afraid to ask questions. Teachers are there to help, and classmates can often explain things in a way that makes learning easier. However, some students feel embarrassed to ask for help because they think it will make them look less intelligent. In reality, asking questions is one of the best ways to learn. The more a person asks, the more they understand, and the better they perform in their studies. In everyday life, people also need help from others in various ways. For example, when traveling to a new city or country, asking for directions is a common necessity. If someone is lost or unsure about how to reach a destination, they can approach a local person and ask, "Excuse me, Could you tell me how to get to the train station? Or I'm looking for a good restaurant nearby. Do you have any recommendations? In most cases, people are happy to help, especially when they see that the person asking is polite and respectful. Knowing simple phrases for asking for help in different languages can also be useful when traveling abroad. Another situation where asking for help is essential is during emergencies. If someone is in danger or facing a serious problem, seeking assistance immediately can save lives. For example, if a person sees someone injured on the street, they can call emergency services or ask a passerby for help. If a child gets lost in a crowded place, asking security officers or store employees for assistance can help reunite them with their family. In such situations, speaking clearly and directly is very important. Instead of hesitating, one should say, "I need help immediately." There is a problem, so that others understand the urgency of the situation. Asking for help also plays a role in maintaining good mental health. Sometimes people go through difficult times and feel overwhelmed by stress, sadness, or anxiety. In such cases, talking to a trusted friend, family member, or professional can make a big difference. Many people hesitate to ask for emotional support because they do not want to burden others. However, true friends and caring family members are always willing to listen and offer comfort, saying, "I've been feeling down lately. Can we talk?" Or "I really need someone to listen to me," can open the door to valuable emotional support. In society, asking for help is a way of building connections between people. Whether in personal life, at work, in education, or during emergencies, everyone needs help at some point. By learning how to ask in a polite, confident, and respectful way, people can create strong relationships and foster a culture of kindness and cooperation. Recognizing that help is a two-way street, giving and receiving strengthens bonds and makes life easier for everyone. Asking for help is a natural and necessary part of life. No one can do everything alone, and at some point, everyone needs the support of others. However, asking for help is not just about getting assistance. It is also about communication, trust, and building relationships. How a person asks for help, who they ask, and how they respond to the help given all play an important role in social interactions. One of the most important aspects of asking for help is choosing the right person. In some situations, it is easy to know who to ask. For example, if a person has a problem with their car, they can ask a mechanic. If they have a question about their health, they can talk to a doctor. But sometimes, it is not clear who can help. In such cases, people need to think carefully before asking. It is best to ask someone who has the right knowledge or experience and who is likely to be willing to help. Asking the wrong person can lead to confusion or frustration. For example, if a person needs help understanding a school subject, they should ask a teacher or a knowledgeable classmate, not someone who struggles with the subject as well. The way a person asks for help also affects the response they receive. People are more likely to help if the request is polite, clear, and considerate. Saying, "Could you help me, please?" Or "Would you mind giving me some advice?" shows respect and increases the chances of receiving assistance. On the other hand, demanding help without showing gratitude can make others less willing to assist. If a person simply says, "Do this for me," without saying please or thank you, it may sound rude. A friendly tone, a smile, and appreciation can make a big difference. People are generally more willing to help those who treat them with kindness. Another important part of asking for help is timing. If someone needs assistance, they should consider whether the person they are asking is available. If a person is very busy, stressed, or in a hurry, they may not be able to help immediately. In such cases, it is better to wait for a better time or ask if they can help later. For example, if an employee needs help from a manager, they should wait until the manager is free instead of interrupting an important meeting. If a friend seems tired or distracted, it may be best to ask another time. Understanding when and how to ask for help shows emotional intelligence and respect for others. When someone offers help, it is important to accept it with gratitude. Some people feel embarrassed or uncomfortable receiving help, but it is important to remember that everyone needs support at times. Saying thank you so much for your help or I really appreciate your time makes the helper feel valued. In many cultures, showing appreciation is a key part of social interactions. If someone helps regularly, a small gesture of gratitude, like a kind message, a small gift, or returning the favor, can strengthen relationships. Asking for help does not mean relying on others all the time. It is also important to learn from the help received. If someone explains how to solve a problem, the person should try to remember the steps for the future. If a person asks for directions, they should listen carefully and follow them. Learning from help ensures that next time, they may not need to ask again. It also shows that they respect the time and effort of the person helping them. Helping others is just as important as asking for help. When someone assists another person, it creates a sense of connection and goodwill. People remember kindness, and they are more likely to return the favor in the future. If a student helps a classmate understand a lesson today, that classmate may help them with something else tomorrow. If a person helps a neighbor carry groceries, the neighbor may offer help in the future when needed. Society functions better when people support each other. Technology has also changed the way people ask for help. In the past, people had to find someone in person to get assistance. Today, they can ask for help online through social media, forums, or messaging apps. Many websites offer answers to common questions, and people can watch tutorials to learn new skills. However, while online help is useful, it is still important to communicate with real people and build relationships through personal interactions. In the end, asking for help is more than just a way to solve problems. It is a skill that helps people connect, learn, and grow. By asking in a polite and thoughtful way, accepting help with gratitude, and offering help in return, people can create stronger relationships and make life better for everyone. The ability to ask for help when needed and to help others when possible is a sign of strength, wisdom, and kindness.